Andrew Busche, the game director for Dragon Age The Veilguard, has confirmed his exit from BioWare. Roll this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. Encourage you to head on over, become a paid subscriber. We have all kinds of articles that we publish every single day covering video games, movies, television shows, comics, tabletop gaming, novels, etc. All kinds of stuff over there, and it costs just $5 a month, well worth the price of admission. And we're usually publishing between 8 to 10 articles every single day. So come on over and help support us and what we're doing here. We are fully reader funded. So Bush, who pretends to be a woman and calls himself Corrine, posted this to Blue Sky. Well, I suppose you've heard, yes, I've made the decision to leave BioWare. I want to encourage everyone not to read too much into this. This was my decision so I could continue making the kind of RPGs we enjoy. So first off, he tells us not to read too much into it, then says basically he's leaving so he can make the kind of RPGs he enjoys, indicating that it does sound like BioWare might have pushed him out because they were none too pleased, or EA at least was none too pleased with the results for this game. If we jump down here, the results are not good, right? At the end of December, it was reported that Dragon Age The Veilguard sold worse than Star Wars Outlaws in Europe. Former games industry head Christopher Dring said this on an episode of the GamesIndustry.biz microcast. Star Wars Outlaws was the 14th best-selling new game of the year, but number 45 overall. He then said Dragon Age The Veilguard, which came out at the end of October, that was number 19 in the best-selling new game chart, but was number 68 overall. And again, this doesn't even include, I've talked about this before, this doesn't include Black Myth Wukong, it doesn't include Power World, because they didn't provide sales data for this the charts that they're looking at. So these games actually performed worse in both the best-selling new game charts as well as the overall charts, because everything we've seen is that Black Myth Wukong was clearly probably the number one best-selling game of the year, and Power was probably up there in the top 5. So really, really bad stuff. And Christopher Dring even notes this. He said it was Christmas, and in terms of AAA blockbuster, the traditional big blockbuster Christmas games, you had Call of Duty, which did well, and you had Dragon Age, which did not. So that is disappointing in that position. Dragon Age had the market to itself, and it couldn't find an audience. And that's really scary as we move into the following year, which we're already in. So even he was pointing out how absolutely abysmal the sales were for this game. You can also look at Steam. Steam revealed that the game was in the bottom half of its top sellers chart for 2024. It got beat by Hogwarts Legacy, which came out in 2023, Elder Scrolls Online, and Final Fantasy XIV, among others. Again, it was in the bottom half of their top 100 chart. I've talked about this before. Steam releases basically these buckets. It's like platinum, gold, silver, and like bronze. And there's a number of games in each bucket. And the bronze bucket, or the fourth bucket, is 51 to 100. And that's the bucket that Dragon Age The Veilguard was in. And we don't know exactly what position it was in, because they just kind of randomize all of the games. They don't actually tell you what position. They just know it's in that 51 to 100 bucket. It was probably towards the bottom if we look at this other data here from Europe. Number 68 overall is what they're saying. And again, if you factor in Wukong, factor in Power World, maybe some other games that didn't actually provide sales data, is probably post 70, right? Like not good. And then obviously you can look at the Steam charts here, right? 89,418 was the total peak, the all-time peak that it reached on its first Sunday after it released on October 31st. And the 24-hour peak is just 5,506. So it wasn't good. And then even Bush was asked a question by Eurogamer about the game's commercial success, and he punted. He punted on the question. He says, unfortunately, on the sales side, that's not something we can really discuss. But of course, as we know with Inquisition, that was a long burn to get to those total sales numbers. Read between the lines there, or read what's not being said. The game was a failure, commercial failure. I think it's pretty clear based on all the things that we have seen so far. So this idea to say, like, I want to encourage you not to read too much into this. This was my decision so I could continue making the kind of RPGs we enjoy. Well, clearly, BioWare didn't like the kind of RPGs that he was making, given the commercial failure of Dragon Age The Veilguard. So he's gone. He is gone from BioWare. And I definitely feel like this was probably a push out, not it was actually my decision. Because we also saw there was another writer who's been with BioWare for like 15 years, leaving as well. And that, I think, all provides evidence to this other part of the rumor because this was originally rumored that Busche was out by Smash JT and Mark Kern, aka Grums. They got a leaked email. They published it, and then Smash actually in a video covering Busche exiting the company also shared this. He says the current rumor is that they will announce the closure of BioWare Edmonton sometime around February, just before Electronic Arts Town Hall, basically when EA talks about what is going on for the last fiscal quarter and what's next. So we're seeing big people leave this company following the failure of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Usually when you see this, I mean, people, I'm sure some of you guys have experienced this yourselves. When you see a mass exodus of people, it usually means that the studio is going to be closing or having significant layoffs. There's belt tightening. There's going to be some significant changes moving on where you don't expect to be there in the ensuing months. I've seen that happen where you see just like lots of people, they get out the door before they are shown the door. So I think that is definitely a big possibility here, given the fact that we've already seen two top names leave this company. And by top names, I just mean game director and a writer who's been there for 15 years or had been there for 15 years. However, there is some pushback on this rumor that BioWare Edmonton is getting shut down. Jeff Grubb of, Giant Bomb, he wrote this over on X. He says, Busche, director of Dragon Age, really is leaving BioWare, but I don't think EA is closing BioWare Edmonton. Was told there's nothing solid about that part of the rumor. So take of that what you will. I have a feeling that there are going to be significant changes. Maybe it doesn't get shut down, but I feel like there's definitely going to be some belt tightening after this massive, massive failure. And it's been 3 failures in a row, right? Andromeda, Anthem, and now Dragon Age: The Veilguard. How many opportunities will EA give them? And EA's CEO, Andrew Wilson, didn't include it in this article, but I've covered it in previous articles. He thought this game had breakout potential. That's how he was hawking it on EA's last kind of financial quarterly report, saying that he thought the game had breakout potential and was going to perform really well. Well, no, it was not. Anyone who had seen what was coming saw this. So either he is deluding himself, he was lying, or he's just completely ignorant or completely just unequipped for actually heading that company. All of those options are just really bad and just show a poor lack of character, and probably shouldn't be leading a company like EA if you're going to either lie, if you're going to be blind to what the audience is, or if you're going to like not even know what's happening here with Dragon Age. I mean, those are all signs of really poor leadership, and you probably shouldn't be leading the company. But anyways, he thought it was going to be a breakout potential. Clearly not the case. And I think we're going to find out how bad this game did when we see what their kind of revenues were. And because they were really counting on this game doing well, that's what I think it was like their CFO said they weren't actually changing their projections or anything like that. It was still staying the same, but they were saying that they were expecting good sales numbers for this game. And I have a feeling we're going to get similar statements about this game that we saw from Ubisoft regarding Star Wars Outlaws. But this is the latest on Dragon Age, The Veilguard, and BioWare. Andrew Busche, the game director, has exited the company following the game's failure. And we got a little bit of an update on that rumor where 2 different sources are saying 2 different things here. So take of that what you will. But let me know what you guys make of all of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth. And as a reminder, everything woke turns to crap.